And now, prepare your ear holes for penetration as we bring you another great podcast from the Poop Culture Extended Universe.
1, 2, 3, 4. Poop culture, yeah, poop culture. Poop culture, yeah, whoa. Poop culture, yeah, poop culture. Poop culture, yeah, whoa. Poop culture, it's a culture shock. Listen in and it'll make the world rock. Laugh and cry and cringe and bust with a man crush. Poop culture, yeah, poop culture. Poop culture, yeah, whoa. Poop culture, yeah, poop culture. Poop culture, yeah, poop.
Welcome, fellow poopsters and poopettes, to yet another titillating installment from the stalls of the Poop Culture Podcast. On this episode, we pop that top and sit down with none other than Mr. Skin himself from MrSkin.com. Then we count down the cleavage and the best nude scenes of 2017. I am Mark James, and joining us as always is my partner in slime, the man who finally kicked the shit out of Roy Stalin. Mr. Rick Mancrush is on the program. Gentlemen, good evening. Glad to be here with you. What is new in the PCEU?
Oh, nothing much. I'm glad that I beat Roy Stalin. Did I beat him on the K-12, or did I just beat his ass?
You just beat his ass with one fucking ski. God, if there's anybody who needed to get punched in the face, it was Roy Stalin.
I know. How did we leave that off the list? We had a list of our own last week, and it was 2 weeks ago. People that needed to be punched in the face, and unfortunately, we left that one off. Mr. Skin, if before we get into all your stuff, if there was one person from a movie that you had to punch in the face, just on looks alone, you've seen enough movies, who would it be?
A person in a movie that I'd want to punch in the face, probably that guy from Warriors that was, come out and play.
Yeah,
remember that
guy? Great answer, man. Oh, that should have been on our list.
Some of the Warriors need to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
Especially, what's the one guy that was in Dexter later on in his life where he was a bit older? I can't remember his name now from the Warriors.
Can't remember.
He was like the main guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Beck.
Yes.
No, was it James Remar or Michael Beck? I can't remember which one.
I think it was Michael Beck.
Yeah, whatever one was.
Yeah,
in
Michael
Dexter.
Beck was the kind of the leader of the Warriors, and James Remar was kind of the crazy tough guy, while they were all tough guys.
Yeah.
That guy can get punched in the face, though, too.
And like half of the baseball Furies, they can all get punched in the face.
There's so many people.
Wouldn't it be cool to somehow track down the guys that were the baseball Furies and just interview them about that movie? That'd be so cool.
Tell me about
no
your
one would
career
know
after.
them, Who would know? You can't be in a... You can't be in an airport and say, "Oh, I remember you from Warriors." No one saw their faces. So.
Well, then we could probably just get anybody on the podcast and say that they were those guys.
Right.
True.
Yeah. Ajax was James Remar was Ajax. That was,
okay. All right.
And Swan was the main guy, Michael Beck. Right.
Yes. Yeah. But for those that might have been living under a rock for at least the last 18 years, Mr. Skin has chronicled almost every nude scene, maybe all nude scenes. The thing is, that's his job. You're just like living the dream, man.
Living a wet dream, right?
Yes. Before you put the website up in 1999, did you just have like a VHS collection of all these scenes chopped up? Like, how'd you go about it?
So when I was a kid, starting in like 1981, I was in high school and I got a VHS, or actually I got a Betamax player, and we were one of the first homes in the suburbs of Chicago that got cable TV. So all of a sudden we went from just ABC, NBC, CBS, that was it, to HBO and Showtime. And back then, at the very early days of cable television, they would play like old, Italian sex comedies, British, sex farces, and drive-in movies, blaxploitation movies, and I just became hooked on all these movies with great nudity. So I didn't want to miss anything, and I just taped as many movies as I could. And I talked my dad in, I don't know how I did this, to get a second Betamax.
They were like $800 back then.
Yeah, so I'd like just edit it into nude scene tapes, and you know, a career was started. Though at the time I had no idea a career would come of it. So
holy shit! How much were you spending? Because tapes, well, we do these shows every once in a while. We haven't done one in a while, but we used to have the '80s Utopia Island where we'd go back and visit a time like January 1980 or whatever, and we do price comparisons and stuff. And a Betamax back then was like $600.
Like $500.
Yeah, that's like equivalent to like $2,000 now. How did you guys?
I know, and we weren't that wealthy, so I don't know how I got my dad to do it. I think it was such a cool thing then to be able to tape movies and television shows, and it was funny when to tape you had to set a timer. It was really like very complicated. It's not like DVRs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I don't know, but I was able to I was able to get two, and you know Betamax. Think about it. That went the way of the dodo bird, basically, because then VHS took over. And I remember when guys started to get VHS players, I was like, yeah, you guys, that's never going to last. You know? So a lot of my tapes are still on Betamax. I still have some. So.
Do you really? You still have your collection from back in the day?
Yeah, they're going to, the Smithsonian called, they're going to want those, so I got to save them, yeah.
Get the fuck. Are you serious? Because that would be pretty damn cool.
I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That would be quite the collection.
No, that's the Smithsonian wants.
You should open that.
Yeah,
like, you know, buy a plot of land in friggin' Iowa or something that nobody's using, and you know, start a Hall of Fame.
Well, I was talking to my a guy that actually a big influence on me was Celebrity Sleuth magazine in the 80s and 90s. Before I launched MrSkin.com, I used to be a big fan of that magazine. I've met him and talked to him, and we've always talked about opening a nudeseum. I think it could do well. He had an incredible collection of celebrity paraphernalia, and with what I do, it could have been pretty fun, but it just never materialized.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Yeah,
you could have a whole exhibition where you bring in like Cynthia Plastercaster.
Like the Merkin wing of the Merkin wing of the
right,
museum.
Exactly.
You know, yeah,
that would be awesome.
The history of Bush. Yeah.
So you've been doing this all the way through. It's like a teenage boy's dream what you've been doing. So honestly, do you ever get sick of it? Because I'll just tell you, like our buddy Shawbag, who's normally on the show with us, but he's sick. He sees anuses every day of the week, and he said it's like reading a newspaper. It doesn't shock him at all. When you're looking at titties every day for years, is it still special?
Well, I remember when a couple years ago, True Detective, that first season with Alexandra Daddario and that sex scene with Woody Harrelson, and I remember seeing that at the time and being like, oh my! It debuted in January of like 2015. That episode, and I turned to my wife and I go, "That's going to be the best nude scene of the year." And I still had a thrill from seeing that nude scene. And when you see a great celebrity nude scene, I still get excited about it. It's not like I'm like I don't care about that. And you know, and that's part of the fun of even getting to do like this thing. I'm promoting this top 10 nude scenes of 2017. It's actually, believe it or not, a lot harder to do a top 10 list these days just because there's so much content now, especially on the TV side with probably over 120 current active television shows across 37 networks that feature nudity or skin that we have to grab from MrSkin.com, and that's not counting all the movie nudity. So to say what were the 10 best celebrity nude scenes of a particular year is actually difficult just because of how much stuff you have to comb through, no pun intended, to see. So it's pretty incredible.
Now, do you guys cover outside of the United States, or is it mostly U.S. based?
No, we do everything in the world.
Everything.
If it's a movie from Japan, or if it's a movie from Hong Kong or France, Italy, whatever, if we could get our grubby little mitts on it, we will put it at MrSkin.com.
Now, what's the process of pulling a clip? Now, do you still do that manually?
No, I have a team of people. We have eight or nine people that work in our content department that their full-time job is they get into work and they, are combing through all the television stuff from the night before, grabbing it for the website, then also going through new release Blu-rays, grabbing VOD, VOD stuff. So it's if you consider it work, it's a lot of work. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a very hands-on job.
Yeah, well, yes, yes, and we're the only office where people have windshield wipers on their computer screens. So, yeah.
Oh God! Now I'm asking for a guy that's on our network, Bo Beecraft from the Bocephus broadcast.
Okay,
he's actually from your neck of the woods, and he's looking for a job just like that. Are you guys hiring?
Hit us up at customer service at MrSkin.com, and if you're qualified, we'll consider you. We're always hiring, but right now I think we have about 36 people that work for our website and our different websites that we own, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fun place to work, definitely.
Yeah, does everyone work solo, or is it like do they work together as a group?
No, we have a big office. We have different sections where, like, there's the content department, there's the tech department, there's writing room, so it's like kind of broken up. We're moving into new space in the next couple of months where it's going to be like one big area that's just spread out. That'll be really, really nice with a nice view of downtown Chicago from where we are. But it's a normal office. In fact, if you walk into our office, you'd be surprised how sometimes quiet it is because everyone's working so hard and there's so much to get to do. People think you're going to walk in and they'll be like strippers and champagne and like a bachelor party, but it's not really like that.
It's not like the offices in The Wolf of Wall Street.
No.
Okay.
But it is the only office where you'll get fired if you don't have porn on your computer. So yeah,
true.
Yeah.
We've been looking through your log, and it seems like you've been on nothing but NPR all week. We need to have a talk.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Skin, you're a married guy, and honestly, you're probably one of the most popular boob gazers of all time. What's your wife's take on this whole thing? Because my wife knew that you were coming on today, and she was like, oh, and she knew who you were, and she kind of gave me that look, like, because she knew that we were going to do research, so she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, first of all, I couldn't be married to someone that was uptight and thought what I did was wrong, because that would cause, this is my full-time occupation. So that's number one. I met my wife before I even launched MrSkin.com, so she knew what she was getting into. Listen, it's fun. It's this website obviously has been wildly successful, more successful than I ever dreamed it would be. And I've been doing this 18 years. She's used to it. We barely talk about work, other than little comments about, something, about the people there, but not like too many details. But it's like any other guy's job. How often does your wife talk to you about your job, It's
a cool job, though. Does she ever
it's an awesome job.
Does she ever throw out like a time, like she's always like, or she ever like just throw out 222 or have a paper written down?
No, she doesn't have the memory like I do for this stuff,
Not trying to throw you a bone somewhere. Do you have kids?
Yes, I have 3 kids. My oldest is an 8th grade girl. I got a 6th grade boy and a 4th grade girl. So.
Oh man, how's that go?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they know?
Yeah, good. They their friends know what I do, but not. I don't know. We don't really talk about it. I'm not ashamed of it, nor do I. I just don't flaunt it in front of their friends in any way, shape, or form. But yeah. It is what it is. As they get older and kids get more savvy on the internet, it's already started with social media, some mentions about what my daughter's, what her dad does for a living, but nothing too crazy yet. So
people are dicks.
Does your wife have a favorite nude scene of all time?
I know she likes Unfaithful with Diane Lane. That's one that she really likes. Yeah. Not because so much of Diane Lane, but the Frenchman. In the scene, I know that scene is one she really, really likes, and rightly so. Movie. It's a great scene.
Oh yeah, big time. Cherry. So the other thing, when we were talking to your PR guy, he said that you guys you're a bit of a philanthropist, and we could totally get down with that. We're fans ourselves of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and we do some work for them. What kind of charities you get involved with?
A lot of cancer charities, breast cancer charities. That's just something I do personally. Everything helps, and I don't talk about it too much, but we're definitely philanthropic when it comes to that stuff.
That's good. That's good to hear that, especially people that have something that's almost hobby-based are giving back. I think that's awesome. When Mark brought this up with LLS and stuff, I couldn't agree more. Like, you got to give back. So that's awesome.
Anyone that's successful, if you don't give back, that's not cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to get back real quick to something we were talking about earlier about just we're a sucker for nostalgia, and actually we miss the days of the video store. We miss having the physical media. What do you prefer?
Well, I'm like you. I really enjoyed, and before I had this website, I would go to Blockbuster, different video stores all over Chicago area. I loved, there were certain places that had rare, obscure movies that were really hard to find, that, more specialty video stores, which I was, rented all the time from. But I miss that too. What I don't miss is the quality of the video versus what you can get now.
Sure.
Boy, you see stuff now in 4K or Blu-ray compared to when I launched the website and I had stuff I would rip off a video. There's just no comparison. The quality of the content at our website is just amazing what it is now compared to when I launched it in 1999.
Right, and it's probably way easier too to find stuff. I mean, do you miss the hunt that you used to have, having a dig?
In the first 10 years of my website, we did a lot of stuff where we would go to eBay and buy movies that were out of print or hard to find, and that was really thrilling. I remember getting there's this Israeli movie called Hagan. It translates to The Garden, and it's an Israeli movie, and it had Melanie Griffith when she was 19 years old. Ooh. Running around completely naked in an Olive Garden. And I'm not talking about the Italian restaurant. I'm talking about an actual Olive Garden.
I don't know what would be better.
It was something I'd always heard of but never saw, and we tracked that down. And that was really that was like a really fun thing for me to find. And there were other movies like that, like The Naked Ape with Victoria Principal, where she was naked. Ooh. And I remember when I don't even remember how we found it, through a collector or something. We bought the movie, and we have the pics and clips at our website that shows Victoria Principal naked, and it's really shitty quality and all that, but it never was released in anything other than what I have on videotape here. But for me, that was a big thrill. We don't do that anymore because you just everything now I could find. We've either found it or we could get it in a much better quality anyway, and that's the way we'd prefer to go.
Right. Did you have something? What were you going to say, Mark?
You were talking about 4K video and how much better quality it is now than the VHS tapes. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of nude scenes you don't want to see in 4K.
Sharon Stone and Basic Instinct. That was one where I was like, "Oh my God, on Blu-ray, this is incredible." It's like there's a big difference between the Lake Cross scene in video or Blu-ray. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
What's the what would you say the best era for skin is? Is it 70s, 80s, 90s today?
I could tell you like a window from like 1980 to 84, the teenage sex comedies of that era, when you had like Porky's, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Last American Virgin, Mischief,
Revenge of the Nerds,
all those movies from that era, that little window right before John Hughes got on the scene and turned the Breakfast Club and all that, became less about the nudity. That to me was just a wonderful time. Those movies, I still love all those movies. I love the nude scenes. The girls were all natural, got fully nude in most cases. Now, I also love the 70s. I love the blaxploitation films, drive-in movies, all that. But there was something special about that era from 1980 to 84, 85. To me, that's one of my particular favorite eras for movies.
Then they had to pop up PG-13 and kind of kill the whole thing.
Oh, I know. Everything got goofy. And we joke. I don't. I like John Hughes movies too, but as far compared to like, Fast Times and stuff, it's a different type of film. When he came on the scene.
What were you saying there, Mark?
No, he was talking about blaxploitation films, and he said there was something special about it. There was something special about seeing Pam Grier nude.
Well, that's it. I mean, whenever you say
geez.
blaxploitation, you might as well just say Pam Grier movies, because she's so hot. That nude scene in Coffee is one of my Yeah, it's one of the great nude scenes
Oh,
of all
she was
time. But then,
incredible.
Foxy Brown and The Arena and a bunch of other movies she did, I still love also.
Now, off the top of your head, do you know how large her breasts are?
Oh my God! Well, those were bigger than Double
Originally.
D. I mean, Pam Grier was, and all natural, by the way.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who we're talking about, she was the '70s drive-in blaxploitation queen, and Quentin Tarantino was such a big fan of hers. He did the movie Jackie Brown and got her to star in it, and that was really cool. In 1990, is it about 97 or so?
99, 98, yeah,
whatever.
around
Yeah,
there.
that was really cool to see that.
Now, we had a listener question, Veda Callisto from Blanket Fort. She wanted to know, this is a really precise timeline that she asked. She said, what are your top 3 bum scenes from 75 to 80?
What? Bum.
Your bum. I guess an ass scene. Yeah.
Oh, that's really specific.
Yeah. It is.
So what's the range?
She gave 75 to 80.
Well, I'm trying to think of actresses from that era. 75 to 80, that's pretty big. There were one of my favorites from that era that had an incredible butt was Nastasha Kinski. Do you guys remember her?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would definitely be in that window of 75 to 80. She did that movie Stay As You Are. And she had started to, and then she actually became a much bigger star in the 80s.
She's really testing your knowledge.
Yeah,
with
no,
this
it's
question.
I'm trying to. That is it's such a weird question. I'm trying to think how to answer that. Nastasha Kinski's one that definitely comes to mind. No question about it. Another one that I loved from that era also was Anne Margaret. That was another one I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't.
She was a
I'm trying to think. I
classic.
know she did the movie Magic in that window, but I don't know if that'll answer the question.
I don't think
for,
that's going
for
to be
that
in there.
person.
No.
Yeah, no, but that's a great question. I like it. I've never been asked that within a window like that. It's a pretty cool way to ask the question.
I guess. She'll listen to the episode. She'll hear what you say. But, out of all the stuff you guys do, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but growing up, I couldn't stand Skinemax flicks.
I wasn't, because you know why? A lot of it were girls with fake boobs, and
yes,
it was like
and it was
there
like
was
fake
so much
porn.
nudity in it here's the difference between the Cinemax movies and like the teenage sex comedies with Phoebe Cates and those girls. Phoebe Cates was a celebrity who did nudity in the teen sex comedy, right? The Cinemax
Right.
girls were celebrities because they did nudity, and there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't have all that at the website. I didn't watch that stuff, but
It's your job.
you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the women, like Virginia Madsen in Class, was a celebrity who did a great nude scene versus the other way around with the Skinemax movies. They would just become celebrities because of the nude scene.
Right.
I remember one in particular. It was an episode of Red Shoe Diaries. You guys remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Red
And,
Shoe Diaries, I would not put in as a Skinemax type thing. I'd say that sits in its own.
Right.
But that was more like romance, softcore, erotica. I wouldn't consider that Skinemax. Skinemax was like, they weren't well written. Like Red Shoe Diaries had some really sexy stuff over time.
There was one episode that had Nina Seismanenko, and she was banging this guy in the elevator. And if you go back and watch it now, that's a very young Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, God, Nina. How do you pronounce that last? Simiesco or something?
Seismalenko.
She was born in
Seismanenko?
Chicago, I know, and I remember she was also in that Wild Orchid 2,
Right.
the second Wild Orchid, and she had her little moment of fame, and she's kind of don't hear much of her anymore. So
Yeah, everyone remembers her from Airheads.
yes,
Adam,
that would
yep,
probably
yep, yep.
be where. So around the mid '90s is when she kind of peaked.
Well, there's some, and just getting back real quick, like some of those movies, the ones I remember were the ones that it was basically a porno, and it would piss me off because everything was cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that a lot with the Skinemax movies. They'd take
Oh,
porn movies and edit them, and it was so crappy. But like what guys, like, we all were there getting home late on a Friday or a Saturday and flipping channels, and you stumble across the Skinemax. You'd watch 15 minutes and do your business and go to bed, right?
this looks like it has a good
Oh,
plot.
I still have a selection over here in the Man Cave Studios VHS tapes of Shannon Tweed and Joan Severance.
Oh yeah, Joan
those are all
Severance
classic.
movies. I especially loved the Joan Severance stuff, and she was in that See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
The towel scene.
Yes.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
That's great. So out of all the people you have on your website, you have, I don't know even how many do you guys have?
28,000 actresses featured at our website in the history of film and television, yeah.
Wow.
All right, so 28,000. Are there any celebs that you haven't seen nude yet that you're pining for?
Oh, yeah. Well, one would definitely be, I was always a big fan of Mad Men, and Christina Hendricks.
Thank you. Fucking men. She is absolute right at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I'm with
She's
you.
one, historically, one that got away that I was always bummed is Raquel Welch. Believe it or not, she never did a nude scene.
I was always a fan of Grace Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, she was from an era where if you're an American actress, it wasn't going to happen. But I agree. Grace Kelly was just so beautiful. And she supposedly in real life was very sexual, had a lot of affairs and stuff. Never showed her, never showed anything in a movie, unfortunately.
Nope.
Damn it. We're asked out on that one. Now, over that course of, actually, this has been going on longer than 18 years, but let's just say for the sake of your website, over the course of 18 years, what's your favorite ever?
Well, listen, Phoebe Cates in Fast Times at Ridgemont High is my favorite nude scene of all time. I'd have to say that Alexandra Daddario in True Detective really, I don't know, it just that to me is one of my top 5 of all time. I mean, I have to say that even though it's a newer thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you ask me what's the most famous nude scene of all time, I'd probably say Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, the lake cross scene.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard. I think I'm going to have my 20th anniversary in 2019. I'll probably do my top 20 nude scenes of all time to celebrate that. And I've done these lists before. And over time, you just things shift around, new shows come up, new nude scenes come up, and it's fun to update the list. So probably in a couple of years I'll update it. But things like Angelina Jolie and Gia, Halle Berry and Monsters Ball, Scarlett Johansson and Under the Skin, they would all be in my top 10, I would think.
Denise Richards and Wild Things.
That's up there. Yeah, no question.
Funny story, we had a director last August that was on the show, and a man that was, I'm not going to drop his name, maybe you'll know who I'm talking about just by saying it, but it was a man who's known for the term pop your top.
Pop that top.
And pop that top. So
said it right in the intro.
Yeah, so we had this guy on, and we have this segment of our show called The Showdown, and we were going to do, it's almost like a draft of whatever topic it is. And for him, he was known for having females show their breasts in all of his movies. So we made up this whole top list or whatever, most iconic breast shots of all time, right? And number 1, we picked Phoebe Cates, number 1. And he shit all over us nobody's business.
What did he think was better, more famous, hotter?
He dropped the most obscure B people from the 60s and stuff. We were like, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah,
that's not
I think
iconic.
You got it when you ask that. Listen, if you looked at my website, you think of it as a museum. I could curate some of the most amazing, sexy, incredible stuff you ever saw, ridiculous. But when you're doing these lists, they got to be someone's heard of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, I have a lot of foreign, incredibly gorgeous women from the 70s at my website naked, but that's not what we're. You got to have some sort of a celebrity. They got to have some sort of celebrity. We're not saying who's the hottest girl you ever saw. You're saying what's the most famous nude scene, or what's your favorite celebrity nude scene? Right. It has to be someone's heard of.
It's got to be something that sticks with you. Not just a scene where you see a girl like, oh, wow, she's pretty. You rub one out, you turn the TV off, you forget all about it. It's those scenes like you were talking, in True Detective or Wild Things or Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That
iconic,
just
remember that forever.
Iconic nude scenes. Iconic nude scenes.
They are chiseled in stone in your spank bank.
Yes.
I think he was dropping all Russ Meyer films, if I think back.
And don't get me wrong.
I think they
love
were Russ Meyer films.
Ushi DeGard and Kitten Natividad. I love those girls, but I wouldn't put them in a top 10 of the greatest celebrity nude scenes of all time. They're just not celebrities. They're
right.
They were like drive-in babes, which is fine. I love that stuff, but it's not for those lists. To compare them to Phoebe Cates, I get it. Ushi DeGard has much bigger, bouncier, incredible boobs, but that's not the question. If you wanted best bouncy boobs, if we're just looking at the boobs and taking nothing else into consideration, sure.
Yeah, but she wasn't in fucking Gremlins.
I feel better about it now.
Yeah.
Now that we have the foremost expert is agreeing with our most iconic scene, I feel better.
I do.
With that.
We are 100% vindicated at this point.
You're skindicated, yes.
Yes.
Skindicated. Felt like total shit over that. Yeah, here's a question that we got from a couple people who were asking this, and I kind of wondered this too. How do you not get sued? Do you have to give a chunk to the studios, or do they just welcome all the extra publicity?
Well, to make a long story short, I've been doing this over 18 years, and if you come to our website and check it out, we don't just post pictures of actresses. We actually do a lot of editorial. We review the movie. We give bios on the actresses. We review the nude scenes. We give write-ups on the nude scenes. We rate the nude scenes. We're only showing a tiny portion of a movie or a television show.
Right.
And we're doing heavy editorial commentary on that. When you do that, you're protected under fair use. I'm not showing a whole movie. I'm only showing a minute or two of the nudity, and the editorial content supports it, and that's basically what happens. Now, that being said, I have about 75 movie studios and PR firms that send us screeners of movies and television shows because they know, we get 8 million people a month to MrSkin.com, and if I talk about their movie or their television show and the great nudity, that's great free publicity for them. So
now, when they send you the clips or send you the screeners,
no, they send us like the Blu-rays of the movie,
the entire movie.
Right? Do they put a little Post-it note on it that says, check out an hour 15 in, man?
No. But sometimes they'll hit us up like, oh, you're gonna love the nude scene in this, So.
Man, I wish our guys said that.
I wish they did the work that way, but they don't. So.
Wish the people that sent us movies put little notes in there.
Oh, I know.
This movie
that
doesn't
would be
suck,
great.
but go to 20 minutes and there's an awesome tit scene there.
Now the movie Knocked Up. They mentioned Mr. Skin in that. Were you involved in that? Was that a co-promotion?
Yeah. What happened was, so that movie came out June 1st of 2007. Like July of 2006, I get a call from an attorney at Paramount. And he's like, listen, the guy that did 40-Year-Old Virgin, Judd Apatow, wants to put your website in his next movie. Would you be okay with that? And a lot of people said to me, well, why didn't you ask him for money and this and that? And my reaction was, you know what, I'm not going to make it difficult for these guys because they could, they don't have to put my website in. I instinctively knew that the guy that did 40-Year-Old Virgin, his next movie would probably do pretty well. And Any publicity is good publicity when it comes to when you own a website. So I ended up saying, sure, where do I sign? I signed a contract, and lo and behold, not only did they put MrSkin.com in the movie Knocked Up, but they really couldn't have got better PR. I joke that, the only better product placement in a movie I could think of is Reese's Pieces and E.T. I mean, the way they set up my website and how great it was and how they couldn't compete with it was really cool. So that was fantastic, that placement in the movie Knocked Up. And to this day, that movie still plays. You still see it. It did $250 million in theaters when it came out, and it's almost like it runs on a loop on cable television. You just you see it all the time.
Yeah, but you don't want to be Reese's Pieces, though. Reese's Pieces only got that job because M&M's turned it down.
Right.
So you don't want to think Judd Apatow went to, like, I'm not going to drop a name of a competitor, but they go to a competitor before they went to you.
Yeah, but you know what? He said that he had heard me on the Howard Stern show, and he was trying to come up with a goofy job for the lead character when he was writing the script, and he heard me on the Howard Stern show use that the guy wanted to do a website where he chronicled every nude scene. So it was pretty cool. Judd Apatow told me that himself when I went to the movie premiere. It was pretty cool.
How close was Seth Rogen to what you were growing up when he was trying to get all the times?
My wife joked about it. There was a lot of similarities, like sitting in front of a television with a yellow notepad. That was what I used to do, Because once I knew I was going to have a website, I had to step up my game and, like, really start seriously chronicling this stuff because I was trying to put it into a database. I quit my job at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and literally was holed up in my studio apartment in Chicago for like 8 months, just going through movie after movie. And some of it I had already done, but when I knew I was going to do a website, I had to really make sure it was accurate and I didn't miss anything. So eventually some people started helping me, and but yeah, it was a lot of work. But what those guys did is very similar to what I did.
Right. So take me back to the moment of inception where you had the idea for Mr. Skin, where you have, an entire room full of VHS and Betamax tapes filled with nude scenes, and the technology's caught up. So you're like, wait a minute, I can take all of these and put them on the internet.
Well, what happened was I was going on the radio in Chicago as this like savant, where if you asked me any actress, I could tell you off the top of my head if they'd been nude in a movie, how far in the movie. And I was doing it as kind of a fun party trick on the radio. And I became like a Chicago radio guest celebrity type of thing. Not huge celebrity by any means, but it was like a cool thing in Chicago for a couple years in the 90s. Someone heard me. There was a celebrity softball game that we were doing for a radio station, and after the game, they came up to me, and the guy was like, listen, you should put what's in your head into a website. And this was in, like, 97, summer of 97. And I said to him, what's a website? I had no idea. I didn't even know.
God.
And he talked me into it. He said, you could really make a lot of money if you put what's in your head in this website. So I was intrigued. I got the balls up to quit my job at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, raise a little money. I raised like $70,000 from 35 from my brother-in-law and 35 from a trader friend of mine from the Merc. And that's it, $70,000, launched the website, quit my job, lived off that money to build the website and live off of for, 5 months until I went on the Howard Stern show in March of 2000, and that really started getting the site noticed, and we started to make some serious money.
That's incredible, man. And you made it all the way through the whole boom.
18 years. I mean, we were before YouTube, Facebook, Google. I mean, we've been around a long time. It's pretty incredible, and we're doing better than ever. It's amazing. Now, one thing I've done is diversify. We own a number of websites other than Mr. Skin and have revenue streams coming in multiple ways. But MrSkin.com is still our bread and butter. It's the main supporter of all these people that work for me. So I'm really proud of it. And if you go to our website, you could tell we put a lot of time and energy and love and expertise into this thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great website. We got our accounts. We're thankful for that. And I'm sure Ben, who's sick today, is doing nothing but spending time looking at nude scenes.
Yes.
Yeah. No problem. I understand completely.
Yeah, that's why he called out like 3 hours ago. It was like, I'm really sick.
He called out after we sent the account password information, too.
That's so funny.
Son of a bitch. That's what third mics are good for. I'm gonna throw out some just a shotgun of questions here. So our audience knows when you go through your top 10, kind of what they're getting. All right, so they're gonna be real simple questions. It's gonna be either or. All right.
Okay.
And they're all going to be due to, stuff that you guys cover on your website. So first question, tan lines or no tan lines?
Tan lines.
Bald or hairy?
Hairy.
Bushy or trimmed?
Bushy.
Thongs, boy shorts, or cotton granny panties?
Boy shirts.
Boobs or asses?
Boobs.
Real boobs or fake boobs?
Real.
Small or large?
Large.
Last question. Barely legal or mature?
Mature.
All right, there it is.
I think we should ask the same questionnaire to every guest.
No matter who they are. Yeah.
I would have loved to ask that exact questionnaire to Dee Wallace.
I was gonna say that. She's like a grandma.
Yeah, she's interesting. I've heard her interviewed. She's great.
She's awesome, but she's like such a sweet lady. If I asked her, but she's a really good sport too. Like I think if I did that, she would just answer the question.
That's exactly why I brought it up. It's like to hear her answers from that. It's like when you hear Betty White swear.
Did you mention the Dee Wallace, her nude scene in 10 at the 1 hour 11 minute mark? Did you?
No, we did not touch on her nude scene. I remember we were face to face with her, so it's really hard when you're face to face with somebody to ask them about their nude scene.
Yep, that makes
she's
it
like
difficult.
70.
That's like asking your grandmother, "Hey, Grandma, can you tell me about the time you were naked on film once?" You know.
Do you remember giving fellatio?
Look, man, passwords, they really marshmallow. Or as my partner in slime, Rick Mancrush, would say, they're a real kick in the dick. One of the banes of my existence is managing all my passwords, or trying to remember my password to my passwords. Look, I have more passwords than I have patience, man. But you know what? Vault is here to help. With Vault, pictures are your passwords. We encrypt all your information using techniques approved by the NSA, and then protect that information behind a wall of memorable images that only you know. Vault trains you on those images using proven techniques from psychology and cognitive science. The images are memorable, and the training process, well, it's fun and easy. Vault gives you effortless security and convenience via memorable images and science. It's a marriage made in security heaven. So get your passwords under control and download Vault today at VALT.io/POOP.
All right, so let's get into this. So you had this whole thing set up. You have the top 10 celeb nude scenes of 2017. We got the link for it.
Yes.
We checked them out. We dug them. And like I said before, one of the things we do is we have this thing called the Showdown every week.
Okay.
So we took the access to your page. We went through every 2017 movie as well.
Okay.
And we made up our own top 10 to go along with you.
Oh, cool. That's dedication.
You could shit all over ours. It's like you're going to be like, nah.
No, that's fine. I'm interested. Yeah, no, I like it.
All right, let's see. All right.
I like it. But yeah, listen, and I'll tell you, in this day and age with all the television shows and movies, to narrow it down to 10 is not easy. And these are what we have at the front page of MrSkin.com is the top 10 celebrity nude scenes of 2017. And you guys have the link, and I love your opinion too, but it was fun to put together.
It's a pain in the ass, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. I wanted to see how hard it was. So all I did all day today, and you guys probably spent way more time. I only spent 8 hours going through your library and trying to dig up every 2017 movie. And I think I've pretty much seen every nude clip.
Oh, man.
At least in a picture form in 8 hours.
Well, there you go.
It's not going to be as good as yours, though.
No.
I think you guys put way more time. But
yeah, and you'll probably find some diamonds in the muff when in what you're looking for. So.
You know what you should do is you should make a supercut edit of every nude scene. Obviously you couldn't do it it'd be like a 20-hour video, but do it year by year. Every nude scene in 2017, put them all on one video, like rapid fire.
That would have made shit so much easier.
Boo. Yeah.
It isn't a bad idea.
It's like the Cliff Notes of tits.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
That would have been awesome today. I could have just sat there and watched the entire thing. Pause, play. Pause, play.
Right,
Damn it.
That's hilarious.
All right, so let's get started. Like kick off your list, man. Let's see what you got.
Well, number 10 was a pretty cool nude scene. Amy Schumer in Snatched. It happened at the 27-minute mark, and obviously she's a very famous comedian, actress. The scene here is funny because she's drunk and she's trying to hook up with this guy, and they're talking, and she has no idea that her whole right breast has popped out of her top, and the guy points it out to her, and she looks down and you see it. And when she did the movie Trainwreck and didn't really do a nude scene, I thought maybe she's not going to do nudity. That's a bummer. And then 27 minutes in, a snatch, she did, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Mark and I share about the same sentiment. Like, she is a comedian. I agree with you there. And, she has a great tit. I mean, the tit coming out. It's
pretty surprising,
nice
yeah.
And, you don't see comedians do stuff like that often.
No, there's a combination of like her celebrity, the clarity of the boob, and the shock value was all like, all right, I got to put this in the top 10.
There's a nice beauty mark.
Yeah, so many people go back and forth on this. If Shawbag 6 was here, he'd be all up in arms saying as soon as you mention Amy Schumer that she looks like a potato.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's Shawbag.
Right, but you gotta. I get it. She's not I get it. She's not the hottest.
See, but that's where I differ.
Amy Schumer. It's like if people are listening to this and don't know that Amy Schumer showed her whole right breast in a movie, I guarantee you they're going to want to check it out.
Yeah, whether they like her or
nobody.
not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether you think she looks like a potato or not. But personally, I would smash that potato.
You'd mash it? Yeah.
I would. I am a fan. I'd rather see Amy Schumer naked than Chuck Schumer. So
that's a good point. So for our number 10, see, this is where my list got all fucked up because at first I picked Jennifer Lawrence in Mother, because it was her first time nudes on screen, and then I watched the scene a couple times, and I'm like,
I know that's the problem. If you actually in theory, great call, but if you watch the scene, she's
so
like being attacked, and it's quick, and
there is nothing sexual about that scene.
It's terrible.
And if there is, you got way worse problems than trying to figure out a top 10
it was
list.
going to be hard for me to justify that as a top 10, but good. I like where you're going here. You did your homework, so good.
So I switched it, though. I did switch it, though, at the last minute when I was speaking to Miss Veda Callisto from Blanket Fort. We have a Hall of Fame for poop culture, and Lloyd Kaufman's in our Hall of Fame from Troma Videos.
Oh, yeah, I like Lloyd. I've met him a number of times. Great
awesome guy. So she was like, well, you got to put in Return to Nukem High, a.k.a. Volume 2, which is their new movie. So she sends me the clip of Catherine Corcoran from the beginning, who is also in Volume 1, and she's fine as fuck. So that's my number 10. She kicked Jennifer Lawrence right out the door.
All right, there you go. Wait, from Return to Nukem High Volume 2?
Yeah, the newest one. It's out, but it's only like select theaters and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Return to Nukem High Volume 2.
Right. Yeah, because the one before was like 2015. They have weird names. They're hard to keep track of. So.
This one's really weird. It's hard. When I was looking for clips, I was like, I'm never going to find it because they actually kept.
Right, because it's in theaters. Or it hasn't been released. Right.
It's tough. All right, so what do you got for number 9?
Number 9 is Kristen Stewart in Personal Shopper. And Kristen Stewart, of course, from the Twilight movies, we all know her. But she did this horror drama called Personal Shopper that came out in March, and I got to tell you, I know a lot of guys think she's like the Keanu Reeves of acting for females, but she looks so good in this scene, topless, and then you get a bonus, which I really dug, that pushed this into the top 10, was the bonus thong in the mirror while you're looking at her breasts. It's pretty cool.
And that's why your site's cool. You have the clip on there, and it's like a 2-minute clip. And if you watch it all the way through, in the beginning, she's trying on this, I don't even know what it is. It's like a weird lingerie thing.
Yeah.
And then she's looking at herself in front of the mirror, and then she goes in front of the other mirror, and you get a better shot of her in the thong. And I thought she was going to go finger herself at one point. I was like, oh, she's going for it. But, man, that's a good scene, man. That's a sleeper.
Yeah, she needs to eat a cheeseburger, though, man.
Yeah, she's skinny, no question about it.
I think she's lost weight since the last few movies she's done. I think she lost weight for this one, and she looked emaciated.
No, I think she looks good.
Some guys that's too skinny. It's fine with me, but I actually prefer a little curvature. But I get what you're saying.
When you can see the ribs and the hip bones, Come on.
You can't see her hip bones. I'm looking at it right now.
I can see rib, but hip bone, little
Yeah,
bit.
there's no hip.
But,
Yeah. Mark's being picky.
I'm nitpicking the bone here.
All right, Mark, what do you have for 9?
9, I had unforgettable Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not her first nude scene, but if there was a little bit better lighting, I think it would have been higher on our list. But
yeah, that one happened about 38 minutes into the movie, and we considered that, and great call. The problem was, to me, the lighting, and she's done. You want to see great lighting, check out Trance, but that was a good nude scene.
Yeah.
I like where you're going.
Solid. So what do you got for 8?
Number 8 on my list of the best nude scenes of the year, Natalie Emmanuel in Game of Thrones. And, it's funny, she plays Missandei, it's Khaleesi's assistant on the show.
yeah.
And on July 23rd of 2017, we finally got the episode. Now, she had done a skinny dip scene the season before, but this scene was the best Game of Thrones nude scene of the year. It was where she undressed, got completely nude in front of Grey Worm. And Grey Worm, if you don't watch the show, is a eunuch, and he was able to somehow please Natalie Emmanuel, and good work for Grey Worm on that.
Nice. Yeah, that was a really good nude scene. She's a very, very good-looking woman. I was glad when I saw that scene.
Great tits, too. I'm looking at the preview right now.
Fantastic.
That's an A+ pick, man.
I mean, Game of Thrones must have been like a Christmas present for you.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how great Game of Thrones has been to my website. It's really been a boom.
You should send George R.R. Martin a Christmas card.
All right, so for R8, I went with Emily Mead from the show The Deuce from HBO.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I actually think The Deuce is the best TV series for nudity of 2017. And I don't know if it was just there were so many different nude scenes it was hard to choose one for me. But there's so many great scenes in that. And the funny thing is even though I think The Deuce is the best TV series for nudity, I didn't choose one for the top 10. And I've been struggling with that. Like, I still think overall, when you factor in all the nudity from Margarita LaViva, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jamie Newman, all these girls that got naked,
tons.
Emily Mead.
Yeah.
Overall, best show for nudity, but I didn't take any one in my top 10. But I'm totally cool with where you're going with Emily Mead.
Well, it's quality, not quantity.
Yeah. On episode 7, though, there's a scene with Emily Mead and Maggie Gyllenhaal, and she's like putting her makeup on.
The
nurse scene, yeah. And she's like playing with her tits. Maggie Gyllenhaal's playing with Emily Mead. Oh my God, it's such a good scene, man.
Listen, man, you don't have to tell me. I love that show. So it'll win the Anatomy Award for best TV show of 2017. So.
Oh, for sure. All right, so we're on number 7.
Number 7 is Carrie Russell in The Americans. It's 5 seasons on FX. She plays Matthew Reese's the husband and wife. They're Soviet spies spying on the U.S. government. Every couple of years, Carrie Russell does this shower scene or a nude scene where she shows one of the best asses you're ever going to see, and it's so incredible. I always have to include it in my top 10. It's happened like 3 times in the last 5 years, but she's just so hot. And if there's a better butt out there, there's only one. She's farther down the list that could compare. But what a great backside on Carrie Russell.
It really is. How tall is she? Because that's a great ass. She's got to be petite, right?
Yeah, I would guess around 5'6", 5'7".
Really? You think she's that tall? I thought she'd be shorter than that. I mean, I remember her from the Felicity days. I never watched The Americans, but I will now after seeing this. This is man, you got to go to the site. If you go to the site, if you go to MrSkin.com, he's got the top 10 on there, and you can watch these clips. And if you don't want to watch the whole show, you only want to watch the clip, it's right there. It kind of makes life really easy. That's a really good pick.
Oh, yeah. What I like using the site for is, and what drives me nuts is I'm going through Netflix or Amazon or whatever, looking for a show to watch. Mr. Skin's the best way to choose what you're going to watch. Because you know what you're getting.
The Girlfriend Experience is a great example of that. if you saw the clips at our website of the Girlfriend Experience, you'd be like, yeah, I might have to check that show out on the Stars Network.
Exactly. My father did that. My father, he's in his 70s, mind you.
Okay.
Comes to me one day, he's like, "Oh, I started watching this show. You ever watch this show, The L Word?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, I've heard of it." He's like, "Yeah, a bunch of good-looking women.
He
thought it'd
noticed
be a little
there's no
something."
guys in that. Did he notice there's no guys in that whole history of the show?
What happens is he figured he'd put on one episode, see a little skin, and be like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah.
70-year-old guy gets hooked into the story, watches the entire series.
That's a tough watch if you're watching it for the. I used to watch The L Word with the sound down. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, bringing up Pam Grier.
Yeah. Good call. Sybil Shepherd made an appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, that's you for 7.
And that's Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the very first episode of Fargo, season 3.
Yeah, I looked at that. That was under heavy consideration. It didn't make my top 10, but I loved the show. Loved her. I thought she was awesome, and I love that scene. So I think that's a great call.
Great. We went ass for ass with that one with you.
Yeah, I'd have had 3 ass-only shots. I'd have had 3 ass-only shots, and I'd have had. That's a little too many for a top 10 list.
All right, cool. So we're at number 6.
Number 6 is Charlize Theron and Sofia Boutella in Atomic Blonde, which came out in theaters March 12th. And when this came out in theaters, all of a sudden I'd be at a party and I'd be getting hey, who's that brunette that has sex with Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde? I went to the movie. Who is that girl? Well, she's a French actress, and you might know her from The Mummy.
That's what she's
has
from.
A super sexy scene with Charlize Theron that made number 6 on our list.
That was a great scene. I didn't like the movie that much. I thought it was but I remember
I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people had the same feeling.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown. I went in with higher hopes and got let down. But that scene was great. And any scene with Charlize Theron topless, I think that was on our iconic list. It was far down our iconic list, but it was Reindeer Games where she walks into the water.
Yeah.
That's a great skinny dip scene, yeah.
Yeah, he shit on that one too. All right, so let's see. We're on pick 6. I went with Senses 8, Season 2, Episode 4, Valeria Bolello.
Yeah, that made one of my best full frontals. The one where she's in the tub? Or did you get the one where she's walking?
It's, hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find it again.
Heads or tails on that one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, she's hot in both of them. I think they were on a rooftop at first, and then they go down.
Yeah, that was where she was walking. She had a couple great scenes. But yeah, big fan of her. She's an Italian actress. I just didn't think for my celebrity top 10 list that she was
popular enough.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
She's an Italian model. Believe me, on many levels, love that scene. Totally get where you're coming from. But for my top 10, I had to go more, people you know.
Sure. We also weren't trying to rip you off much. So I think I took a lot of yours and sliced them out so I didn't have the same ones. But there were some I can't contest with. You'll see.
Because your list was so good, we had to pick from the leftovers. So,
It's like you were like an expansion hockey team that had to take everyone's everyone that released 3 players, you had to take them. So.
Yeah, we ended up with Greg Kite and John Koncak. Thanks.
There were some that we had to pick, though. All right, so we're up to number 5.
Yeah, number 5, I'm just such a fan of Jessica Biel. She's got a show on USA Network called The Sinner, and it did really well. A lot of people got hooked on this show. There was couldn't figure out why she inexplicably murdered someone, and the whole first season was figuring out why. The very opening episode on August 2nd, she is in the shower after this murder at the precinct, and Jessica Biel from behind is better than most actresses full frontal from the front. So just loved that scene and loved her, and the cool show, and that's number 5 on my nude scenes of the year.
God, remember when she was on Seventh Heaven and she just went and did that magazine shoot?
Gear.
What was it?
Was it Gear?
I don't even
Gear
know.
magazine?
She was nude though. She was like topless, like squatting.
Well, she was
down.
holding her boobs and stuff, but
yeah,
you were like, "Holy jeez, I had no idea she had a rack like that or a body like that."
She was just like the basketball, like kind of.
I want to say that was Gear Magazine. Was that? I think that was the name of the magazine. Maybe
I can't remember,
wrong,
but she got let go like pretty soon after that, or at least her role got cut down or something, right?
Yeah, she didn't show a whole lot of skin in Seventh Heaven. That wasn't a great show for skin.
That wasn't a great show, period. All right,
what was your number 5?
Yeah, we had Alicia Vikander in Tulip Fever.
Oh yeah, good call. I love that too. I much preferred Ex Machina from her. Tulip Fever. We had the pics and clips at our website, and she's hooks up this dude's doing he's commissioned
like a drawing
a painter
or something. Yeah.
And you get of course you get Alicia Vikander standing in front of you completely naked. Eventually you're going to want to bang her. So
on your bed.
Yes.
That's how it works for artists, I guess. All right, so we're up to 4.
Yes, number 4, the top 10 nude scenes of 2017. Number 4 is Allison Brie in Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling from Netflix. She's best known as Annie on NBC's Community, Trudy Campbell, Peter Campbell's wife on Mad Men. So many guys bugging the crap out of me over the last 5 years. Is Allison Brie ever going to do a nude scene? Has she been naked? Whatever. Well, I'd always have to say no until this Netflix show, the very first episode. It's about this wrestling organization of women in the 1980s, and she's in the locker room, takes her clothes off. It was an awesome nude debut from Allison Brie. Loved it from Glow.
Uncontested, because that's our number 4 pick as well.
Yeah.
And the scene I'll share is the one where she's getting railed by the dude.
Yeah, that was another great one, too.
Oh, my God.
She's railing him.
Oh, yeah. She's taking him down.
I know. She's so sweet and innocent. You think, oh, my God, it adds a little level.
Oh, but those are the good ones. And that was, for my personal taste, that was my favorite nude scene of the year. But you know what? I was a little disappointed. I thought it was going to, it's like Christmas morning when you're a kid. You think it's going to be so great and magical. Then you open your presents and you're like, oh, that was it. So maybe the anticipation was better. For me, it's all about the eyes for her. She's got those blowjob eyes. Yep. So I thought the rest would match. But, I'm still glad
what
she
are
did
blowjob eyes?
You don't know what you know what blowjob eyes are.
You're always
Come
looking
on.
up. Yeah,
that's really that's really sexist, Mark. I can't believe you said that.
Well, no, guys could have blowjob eyes too. I would guess. I don't know. Either way,
Oh shit! All right, so
I'll be on the lookout for blowjob eyes. I've never heard that. So yeah. I've heard of blowjob lips. Yeah,
right. You gotta have the if you got the blowjob lips, you gotta have the BJEs, the blowjob eyes.
It's fucking bizarre.
It's that slight.
Right, let's move on to 3 before Mark makes it worse. All right, Skin. Where are you at 3?
Number 3 is the only non-celebrity on my list. I just couldn't resist this movie, this scene, this actress, and my argument is she's going to become a celebrity after you guys see this movie because you'll be hooked on her. It's Natalie Krill in a movie called Below Her Mouth. It's a Canadian film about a hot weekend lesbian affair between a roofer played by Erica Linder and a fashion editor played by this Natalie Krill. And you guys heard of the movie Blue is the Warmest Color from a few years back, the hottest lesbian scene of all time. Well, there's some lesbian scenes in this that I consider almost as good as Blue is the Warmest Color. But the scene 23 minutes in where Natalie Krill uses the water from the bathtub to get off on the coming out of the faucet, the way she positions herself, the lighting, her natural beauty, her natural boobs, the whole thing. It's an overwhelming. The visual is so great. You got to check it out. Natalie Krill, Below Her Mouth. Check that nude scene out. You'll be very happy.
That's an amazing scene, and actually, it came in at number 2 on our list.
Oh, okay.
We had to keep this. Yeah, I was just wondering the whole time: was the water really touching her?
It's a technicality.
I want to sit down and do an interview with her. Was that method acting?
I don't know, man. If you watch it, they were not they were really having sex in some of the scenes. I mean, you can't have your mouth in that spot and not be causing some sort of pleasure. So,
like, especially with dudes, like when they show one of the, and they're gorgeous females like riding on top of you. Like, what are you doing? Like, are they taping your dick down?
Yeah, they have a device that's like a pad, and it has tape, and it's flesh colored, and they tape you down so you're like a Ken doll.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it is, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty hard to get an erection because of the way that they tape you up in there. It's got to be really uncomfortable. So it's probably a blessing and a curse.
I have another level of respect for these male actors. All right, so Mark, we're on your pick for 3.
For my pick for 3, we had American Playboy, the Hugh Hefner story, Alexandra Light.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, I really dug that. It's kind of like, it was a weird, like, it was a part documentary, part acted out. It was weird.
Yeah, the series was, yeah.
Which girl did you choose?
So it's Alexandra Light. It's the scene where she's in the room with Hef, and she's like on a table, and she takes her clothes off, and then she lays down on the table, and it's like a full frontal.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hot. It's
all good. There was some really good. I love the girl that did the Janet Pilgrim scene, the original Girl Next Door. There was some really good nudity, but it was cool. And then it's the year Hef dies too, so pretty wild.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird because I think he narrated part of it, didn't he?
Yeah, they did how they did it. The guy that actually played him in the docu movie was from New Zealand, believe it or not. So. Yeah.
Wow.
He did a good job though. I mean, he came off like a young Hef in that movie.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving to your number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 is Lily James in a movie called The Exception. She was Cinderella in the 2015 movie with Cate Blanchett and Helena Bonham Carter. She was Lady Rose on Downton Abbey for a number of years. That's where a lot of people know her also. July 14th, this movie hits theaters, limited release, but we were going nuts because Lily James finally naked, and wow, was it great. Not only does she have an incredible rack, but she has this hourglass figure from behind, and it's really a really interesting body type, but what a great nude scene from Lily James in The Exception.
Yeah, she's not a large woman by any stretch of the means. She's small, but she's got curves.
The greatest part about this scene, and Mark and I were watching it before we came on, I had to show him the clip, and if you forward... Well, I'm sure you know, but if you go to the website and you go to 1 minute and 22 seconds of this clip, Jai Courtney, the guy from Terminator, is behind her, and you can't tell if he's trying to dry dog her anal or something, and he looks like he's in the worst pain ever. And then it looks like he pulls out, and she turns around and looks at him with the most disgusted look, like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Right, it's a look of sheer horror on her face, like,
it's hilarious.
What the fuck? Are you an idiot? What did you just try? It's like,
go for the
spit
wet
on that
hole.
shit or something, bud. Come on.
We didn't see the movie. Was there a reason that happened? Was he like a war vet, or did he have like PTSD or something? Like, I don't know. It just got weird.
Yeah, we don't get all the screeners like some people.
Yeah. Yeah, don't want to ruin the movie for you guys, but yeah.
We get some screener. We got a decent amount of screeners. Probably not near. What did he say? 75 studios.
Right.
Yeah, we don't.
Right.
We
Not
don't get
75 studios.
We don't get 75 studios. All right, so let's go to the big one here. What do you got for number 1?
Well, the number 1 nude scene of 2017 celebrity nude scene is Christina Ricci in Z, The Beginning of Everything. It's an Amazon show where she played Zelda Fitzgerald, the original 1920s flapper, married to F. Scott Fitzgerald, of course. And in this scene, Christina Ricci, who's a A-list star, late 30s, there's a party going on with all these guys like drinking, bootleg scotch, smoking cigars, flappers all over the place. Christina Ricci opens the sliding doors, walks in completely naked, and is basically wearing just high heel shoes and a ribbon in her hair, and that's it. It's a pretty incredible scene.
And she looks great I think she's like 39, and she looks fantastic.
She's 39, yeah.
She
I
looks
thought-
great.
See, I thought she's done other movies where she looked better and had nude scenes.
Well, yeah, she's done Prozac Nation before she had breast reduction surgery.
Right.
Yeah, she's Black Snake Moan. But yeah, this scene, just for this year and who she is and what she did, at a party was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
party I
it's a
wanna go
great
to.
scene. And I just heard today, did they just cancel this show?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. They are not renewing it, but we have this nude scene to remember Z, the beginning of everything. So
It'll be immortalized now.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's got a legacy. All right, so for our last pick, and I didn't find this on the site, but it was a movie that I saw, and this chick is so hot. So it's kind of weird because it's not really a hot scene. It's only like 2 seconds, but it's Blade Runner 2049, and it's Ana de Armas.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like the hologram scene.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Great idea. It happened. It's awesome, but it was way too quick, and it's a hologram, so I didn't put it in my top 10. But I like where you're going with that.
We took a lot of liberties with our list that you probably couldn't take with yours, but we primarily did. She's hot, so I was like, she's got.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Hologram or not.
Now your list, it's fantastic. But if you had to compare,
thank you guys, I'm impressed with the work you guys did. So
thank you.
kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Now, if you had to compare 2017 to 2016 or 2015 or whatever, past 5 years, what's your best year in that range?
Well, I was looking at 2016's list the other day, and I was struck by the fact that my list this year, 9 of the 10 girls are famous. And it just doesn't happen that often in 1 year where your top 10 nude scenes, 9. The one I had to explain to you was Natalie Krill. Everyone else has a pretty big level of celebrity on my list. That was a big difference between this year and previous years. I usually have to fill in a couple of spots that maybe were great nude scenes, but you just hadn't heard of the actress. Not so the case in 2017.
All right, well, there it is. So all you have to do, go to MrSkin.com, and it's right on the main page. So just click on it. I think you might have to set up a free account to see each individual clip. Is that right? Or do you...
Yeah, it's totally free. We do that for this age verification, but it's totally free. If you want to come see it at our website, and we put a lot of time and effort in, as did you guys, but I'm very proud of our top 10 list this year.
Yeah, you guys put in way more time than me. I'm telling you, this was 8 hours. You guys did probably 8 months to make up that list.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug right now? If you have anything going on besides the list, I mean, go for it.
Well, I should mention I had a great sponsor for my top 10, Chatterbait.com, one of the biggest free live streaming cam site out there. It's not only do I get to do this top 10 list, but I get a huge cam site to sponsor it. They have a cool slogan, "Why date when you can chatterbait?" So again, to get a sponsor for doing a top 10 list is really cool. I'm proud to have that, and just go to MrSkin.com and check this all out. You can see the site, Chatterbait, anything you want to see if you come to the front page of MrSkin.com.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, man. It's been awesome. And please come back again. Whatever list you guys come out with, we'd love to shoot the shit with you and, compare notes.
Yeah, it was cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Unfortunately, fellow poopers, that's where we have to end this episode. But don't worry, we'll be back next week with a brand new swirl around the bowl. In the meantime, check us out over at poopculture.com. You can check out all of our past episodes as well as all the great shows on the Poop Culture Extended Universe. Until next week, fellow poopers, peace, love, light, and joy. Have a great bidet, everyone.
What you just heard was a podcast in the Poop Culture Extended Universe. For more great podcasts, make your way to www.poopculture.com.